good. Many thanks. I'm here today with Dr. Karin Pirc from the Maharishi Ayurvedic Clinic here in Bad Ems. And we're just going to have a little chat about Ayurveda and how it can help, or the philosophy of Ayurveda in regards to menopause. Or perimenopause, kind of like a woman's chat.
Yes. Okay, very good.
Yeah. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh.
Who are you?
Okay, yes, I am working as an Ayurvedic doctor after I studied modern medicine, of course, which you have to do to practice. I studied Ayurveda a long time, and I'm practicing it since nearly 35 or 40 years now. And I have a clinic in Germany with 3 doctors, and we are treating only with Ayurveda, so it's very specialized, and of course I have quite some experience in all these years.
She's under-exaggerating, but I'll let her get away with it and do another post on her, okay? So would you like to give us just a little overview of what does Ayurveda think about the space in women when they get from the multitasking, raising women, that fairly manic phase when we need to have eyes everywhere, to the next phase?
Yes. So in Ayurveda we have the idea that there are different stages of life, and during the menopause we are going from the more pitta, which is a dosha which is very active, its metabolism is more active, more outgoing, exactly as you said, and then we transform ourselves gradually into a phase which is, in the old Indian days, was believed to withdraw a little bit, so your body tells you to withdraw a little bit, take it a little bit more easy, so you can develop your spiritual ambitions more. So of course, like every transition, it can be a challenge, especially when you didn't live with the natural laws in the years before, which most of us don't. So meaning during this time you have accumulated quite some metabolism residues, and all that causes that during this phase you can have some minor or sometimes also bigger imbalances.
And what do you say, how much of it is genetic and how much of it is lifestyle? Do you
Nothing genetic, absolutely nothing genetic. So you can change a lot, and especially if you're not already 50 or something, so it's good to change it right before. If you miss that time, since I cannot prescribe Ayurvedic preparation in this way here, so that has to be done personally, but there are some tools which you can do to purify your system before you go into the menopause. And the more you can do it, I promise you, the lesser or the smaller are the imbalances which you will experience. So first of all, what you see here, we have already prepared something. Someone has prepared something.
It's so at every corner you're encouraged to drink.
Yes, the
hot
things. Water.
Yes. Hot water mainly.
Yeah. So what you can do at home, you can really cook water. Not like in the water cooker like we all do these days, but in a pot like in the old days, because it has to be cooked like 10 or 20 minutes. Best you do it in the morning while you're in the bathroom, then it's an easy time, and after that time is over, you put it back into the thermos and take it with you and drink it during the day. What that does, it helps you to purify your system. And if you really do this like every half an hour, let's say for a week, you will feel the difference in your body. You will feel you are more fresh, you have more energy, you are a little bit more optimistic than before, you feel less heavy. So that's a good thing, and then you know it is very helpful, and then just keep it until you really, not until you're in the menopause, but until you're in the menopause, and then also after that to make it more easy.
So is that, just to clarify, because every half an hour sounds very intense.
Yeah,
right?
it's often. It doesn't mean you have to drink the full glass here. Just
Yeah.
take some zips, like half of
Okay.
it, something
So
like
you
that.
just take like a bit of it, and as you can have the flask with you, do you set yourself an alarm? How do you get started?
Yeah,
Or is it just
I mean, if you just forget it, I mean, it's not like an anti-baby pill. You have to take it at the same time. So you try to do it every half an hour. Of course, like if I have patients, sometimes I have the hot water there, and then I talk, and then it's all forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the idea. And don't drink it right before food, because then you dilute your enzymes. And don't drink it right after the food, like half an hour pause before and 1 or 1.5 hours after. And another thing which many ladies do these days without knowing it's not good, try to just keep your 2 to 3 meals per day and don't eat in between. So only eat when you're really, really super hungry, and stop eating when you're satisfied. So that's another trick to help you to reduce the production of metabolistic waste products.
Well, that sounds very doable. So is that with the hot water every half an hour? Is that mainly in the morning, or is it all day?
It's basically all day, since
Beside the food breaks.
beside the food breaks, it's basically all day. And in case you have problems, you have to get up during the night because you have to go to the toilet, then of course you can stop it maybe at 6, 7, 8, whatever, you can try. So it shouldn't disturb your sleep, of course.
Well, and even like just doing that next to maybe a bit more sensible with what you're eating, more fresh food and things like that after a week.
Yes,
You
the most important meal. It sounds funny, but I explain to you what I mean. The most important meal is the evening meal, because if you eat in the evening heavy and late, that is the first thing where you can produce waste products, because in the evening the natural rhythm is slowing down. You see it with the sun, the rays are getting less, slowing down. So the later it is in the day, the smaller is your capacity to digest food. So you should go back to what our grandparents did. Have a light morning meal, have a good lunch, and have a light evening meal, preferably very early in the day. So like 6 or 7. Try it as much as you can. You could do this week, like I said, you start with the hot water and you do this on top of it, you will feel a big difference already after a week.
That's what I like about Ayurveda. It's very doable.
Absolutely, and you feel the result because it's basically what we are teaching our patients, and in this case you are not a patient, for prevention. Ayurveda is always for prevention in the first run. And so what we are teaching are basically natural laws. And if you follow these natural laws, you will feel better, you will be more happy. If you live against it, and that's what modern civilization has taught us, living against it all the time, then you run into all these diseases and complaints, and of course menopausal complaints also. So I have a medical trick for you, because this you can do everywhere. If you are 49 or you have the feeling your menopause is starting, meaning you start sweating a little bit, or the sleep gets deranged, or you are more irritable than otherwise, which are signs. You can also go to your gynecologist, of course, and see what the hormone levels say. These days we are very safe, we can always find that out. But what you can do in this phase to prevent disturbances is what Ayurveda recommends is 1 year before the ending of the menstrual cycle, you can have once a month, you can have an evacuation day, meaning you take, depending on your bowels, of course, I mean, here I have to tell you an average. It can be, of course, a little plus or minus in every individual case. But every month you take a little bit of castor oil. That is like, depending on your bowels, let's say the average will be 30 ml. And then you take that in the morning, and you only have rice soup during that day. Very, very easy food, because your bowels are starting to work much more, meaning you go, let's say, 5, 6, 7 times to the toilet. Then in the evening you have a rice soup, Next lunch you have a little thicker rice soup, and then you can eat normally again. That will help you to really flush out all these residues, especially the acidic ones, which create the hot flushes. And then coming back to your question, no genes in that, it's all your own fault.
It's refreshing. I would have liked to blame my mom. It's always nice to blame someone else.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful that we don't need to suffer what our mother has suffered.
No,
so that's really good.
No. And if you have the chance to see an Ayurvedic doctor, for sure they can help you to give you some herbal supplements which prevent all of this. And as you see, I'm way over this time, and I didn't have anything, not one single day. And I know my grandmother, she still suffered when she passed away, so it's not genetic.
You're a great example for your medicine. It's always when people say, "Oh, who's the best yoga teacher?" I always say, just go with the one that looks healthy and is happy.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the same with the doctors that I would put my precious body
Very true.
So just let your judgment guide you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard about that there is like I know it's again an overview, like it's like your fingerprint when she does a pulse examination with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so amazing. But there's the 3 body types, Vata, Pitta and Kapha. And there's also
mixtures, of course.
And mixtures.
Yes.
But some of these symptoms in menopause actually relate to one. So can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yes. So like if you have, like I said, if you have the tendency to the heat flushes, of course then the Pitta is deranged. So Pitta means this is the dosha or the metabolic
constitution?
No, not really. Pitta is guiding all your transformation processes in the body, all the heat processes. So it's nothing you can touch. It's a very subtle energy which works all over our cells. And if that works too much, basically to get rid of toxins, because the body is always clever. It's always trying to keep its balance. If that works more, then you have this feeling of heat, like the ladies have. So that goes to the disturbance of Pitta. And if you have been eating during your life a lot of meat, a lot of fish, a lot of hard cheese, a lot of extremely sour stuff, that Pitta gets deranged, and then you get the bill when you go to the to the menopause phase. And then there are other ladies which are irritated, and that also goes together with Pitta. Pitta is too much, so too much anger, too much irritation, impatience, that's all Pitta. And then there are other ladies which cannot sleep so well, and that's a mixture of Vata and Pitta. Vata is the dosha, it's the most subtle dosha, and it guides basically the nervous system. So it also guides the movement in the sweat cells to open up. So it's always a mixture. And if the Vata is too much, then you will have these sleeping problems. And the Vata gets out of balance if during your lifetime you don't have, and nobody has it these days anymore, you don't have a completely regular lifestyle, you don't go to bed early enough, you don't sleep enough, you don't rest enough. That sounds familiar, I guess, and that puts you into the direction of Vata disturbances. So again, no genes, it's lifestyle, as you said. And then it goes on longer years or longer months, and then when you come to that phase, then you will feel it. You feel it already before. I mean, you feel you are not, you're not like you have to be if you're in balance. But then it really shows, or it may show.
Okay. And then there's a Kapha imbalance in menopause as well.
Kapha imbalance is not so much. With Kapha imbalance, yes, what happens, what many ladies have, but that goes already in the direction of disease, is that joints problems shows up. So that's quite a good combination. And that's basically also due to residues in the system, and residues mostly are kapha, it's heavy, whereas pitta imbalance is more acidity and vata imbalance is more nervousness, something like that.
The unseen vata.
Yes. Yeah, and basically vata is guiding, what we say, vata is guiding all the doshas. That's why we in Ayurveda always say, please have a regular lifestyle, go to bed at the same times, have your meals at the same times. I know it's a real challenge these days, but try as much as it's possible. It's good for your health also. If you're going to be an elder woman, then it's even more important, because during the life, we say about from 60 years on, the vata anyway goes more, and then it's good to balance that before. So even if you're a little older and more fragile, you can be energetic and happy. That's the goal.
Wonderful. So in regards to sleep, how much should you sleep?
Oh, that is very much depending on your dosha type. You said constitution. I hate the word constitution because it goes in the direction that people who don't have much knowledge about Ayurveda say you are a pitta person and that's why you're angry, and you are a vata person, that's why you're so super sensitive. And that's not the idea, to categorize people. It's more the idea to understand where is my imbalance and how should I feel when I'm in balance. So, but still, now we do it since you asked your question. If somebody has, let's say from the constitution, like have all our, now we have the genetic, we have all our genetic, was heißt denn das? Ausstattung?
Our genetic blueprint, I think.
Yeah, that's good. So we all have our genetic blueprint, and that means if you have more vata, then you are more a sensitive person, and you have the tendency to be more sensitive, and you also have the tendency, if there are problems, it's always in your mind, your thoughts are running, you can't stop them. So these people have the tendency, if they are under stress or challenges during their life, they have the tendency, it's not so easy for them to fall asleep. And if that goes on and on and on, it's not balanced, then later you also cannot sleep through the night. But if you're a healthy vata, you sleep like, let's say 7, 8, 8.5 hours per night, hopefully undisturbed. So if you're a pitta person, with a lot of pitta, you know that you are hungry very often, you are sweating, it's warm, you don't like to sit in the super sun, you prefer a little bit cold, something like that. And these people, with their transformation running in the body, for them it's enough to sleep like 6 to 7 hours and sleep deep and sound, and it's enough. So how do you feel you have slept enough? You're energetic the whole day, otherwise something's wrong. And the kapha people, that are the ones, they can sleep day in, day out. They can sleep 9 hours, they can sleep on the weekends 12 hours if they haven't slept enough during the week. So they can really sleep super well, long, sound, deep. But for them it's a problem when they wake up, they're still sleeping. So that are the people that really need time to wake up in the morning and to be clear. So it's the old joke, you know, the husband behind when we still had newspapers, behind the newspaper, and when the wife said something, no reaction. So that's kapha in the morning. Yeah.
That's good to know. And so if you were to be a kapha, there isn't so many in the Western world, right? It's the least.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
But they're all disturbed by the things how they live. So the kapha people have the tendency to put on weight, to be heavy, to be a little bit lazy when it's too much, and we see these people definitely. But most of them here with our Western lifestyle, maybe even from the little things which I told you now, with our Western lifestyle, we have the tendency to, all of us, overdo, don't listen what our body says, run around, And that, of course, puts some vata disturbances, and those can be also on the kapha people. So it's not that you have one dosha and then all the disturbances go in that direction. You just have the tendency to have more of those. But whatever you do, every single thing what you do, if you look TV or if you look outside, you have information which has to be processed, and these informations will change the balance of your doshas every second of the day.
So there is a blueprint, which could be a mixture out of all, but it's unique to you, and that stays with you for life. Is that kind of like your thing? And then the disturbances are kind of like on top, and you could you could pick up a disturbance from any of those types.
Yes, but you have the tendency to. It's easier for you to get disturbances which belong to your dosha, of course, because that's your your metabolism. And what Ayurveda tries is not to change this. It's like this blueprint is like you are born with a little nose, so we can't make it big, you know? And that's the same thing, people don't think about it, but your metabolism is the same. So there are people who digest super quickly, there are other ones, the food really sits when they eat, and that depends on the dosha blueprint, let's put it that way.
And we don't want to change it, so it's
we don't want to change it, because everything is perfect in its way. Only the imbalances, that's what we want to change.
So, do I get that right? I like thinking in pictures, but I might get this wrong. That's fine. So, is it the dosha that you're born with on your blueprint? Is it like a seed? Like the seed is never wrong, and then it's like the environment are kind of like your lifestyles and things like that. So you can actually grow into. You know, if it's a tropical seed, you would like to have more sunshine and more warmth or something like that around to make it better. But if it's a Scottish hardened kind of like seed, maybe it kind of like needs some other.
You need basically, if you treat with Ayurveda, you trust basically your inner fine feelings. What we all do, we treat with the opposite. So very easy. It sounds maybe. But it's very easy. Meaning, you live in Scotland, it's cold, nobody tells you to put on some extra jumper or to put the heat more or to drink more. That's instinct, you know? Or if it's very hot, of course, you undress like that.
Yeah.
And basically, we lost a lot of this inner fine feeling with our super quick outside world. And Ayurveda helps you to, if you don't feel it anymore, we can tell you this is right and this is wrong. And then if you start to go in the direction of the Ayurveda, you will feel it more and more and more again, because that's what your feeling is. It's like what I always tell is try, you have little children like 2-3 years old, grandma was there, not a healthy, interested grandma, brings a big thing of sweets or something, so the child eats all the sweets, and you grumble a little bit, but the child eats all the sweets. And then try 1 hour later to give this child an evening meal. No chance, they won't eat it.
Yeah.
But if you are 30, 40, 50 and you're already deranged, of course you take your food because that's time for food.
Yes.
You don't listen to your body anymore.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to say is we are all born with a quite good instinct, but it gets deranged. So Ayurveda helps you to understand yourself more, to watch yourself more, to tell you what to watch, and then gradually you come back to what you are planned for, let's say.
It's kind of like for me it was very much
it's a
coming
reminder.
home.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm a very sensitive vata person.
No, that is what many patients say.
Yeah.
When people come to our clinic, of course we also have an education part, so every evening there are lectures, or we have an extra knowledge DVDs which people can look at. And I hear very often that the patients say, it's so clear, I understand it immediately and it makes so much sense. I hardly ever heard something which made so much sense. Because it's natural law, that's it.
Yeah. And I love that. There's one aspect we haven't really talked about yet, which is meditation.
Yes.
May you...
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because quickly comes to my mind that I remember an elderly lady. She even became a meditation teacher because she was so impressed of that, and she had strong menopausal problems, and she started meditation, transcendental meditation. She practiced it regularly, and after some months the whole show was over. So that means I talked already about these finer feeling levels, and I think most people feel somehow how they should be if everything would be perfect. There is this inner feeling. I should be relaxed, I should be nice, I should be happy all day. Everybody wants that. And then after some 30, 40, 50 years you think, not possible on this planet. But it's not true. Your lifestyle just brings you in the wrong direction. And if you do the meditation, that teaches you to calm down, basically to calm to your inner self, to really feel what is inside in yourself. And the interesting thing is that the finer levels, if you bring them more to life again or back into your life again, they tell you more and more what this is right for me, no, that is not so good. So your instincts get re-enlivened. And interestingly enough, there's a big study done with, I think, 2,000 meditators in one health insurance, and they were compared to 600,000 people who didn't do the meditation, and in all disease categories, even tumors, heart disease, infections, whatever, the people who did the meditation, they were between, I think 47 was the lowest, to 89% less sick. So it goes to all the levels, because that is our basis. So we can enliven the balancing energy in us if you want to. It's not only spiritual, it's also, which is great, so don't misunderstand me. But that is what it was. But for the Western world, where we have these many imbalances and things in our body which don't work well, then if you enliven your inner core, let's say, the intelligence of the body is so big, it starts balancing on different levels. And I've seen so many people who just lost asthma with meditation, or high blood pressure with meditation only. So of course, as a doctor, I give them some extra things, but I saw many which started doing it themselves and came to the clinic and told me, I had this for 20 years and I started meditation and it got less and less and less and less, and then one fine day it was gone. Mm-hmm. So that is quite often. Or if you change your lifestyle, you eat less, then you feel, my hay fever goes down, all these things.
Mm-hmm. So the power is really within you. And Ayurveda points you always back to you, yes, which is refreshing and beautiful. And I think that's how I see menopause as well. It's just like, we have served everyone and everything and kind of forgotten about ourselves quite often in our 30s or 40s, depending on when we had our kids. And that's kind of like, I refer to that as the estrogen brain. It's like having like all,
you have to do something,
having everything, all plates in the air, and you feel valued and valuable because of it. So when then nature kind of like takes the estrogen away, and the spinning all the plates, like any daytime, any nighttime, not sleeping, I'm guilty of that myself, when it's kind of like gets harder to spin all the plates, we quite often then blame estrogen.
Yeah, that's easy to do. That's what modern medicine tells us, because of course it's true that the hormonal level change. Yeah. But if you are in balance, you can easily be flexible with it. If you're not in balance,
it can become like a disaster, because you can't.
It can be really terrible.
Yeah, this whole super multitasking super mom brain is kind of like, for some people, they feel like it's like failing them. But I always like to think of it as like, I've done the job of so maybe it's now giving me, allows me to not have to do that so much anymore. And I think that's where nowadays we can have our kids so late, right? Yeah, and then our menopause hits when our kids are still like in primary school or something like that. And we're still juggling everything. So how can you handle these things while still doing the job that actually someone much younger
Mm-hmm.
was designed to do genetically. Is there any tips of how to do mature mothering through menopause?
Well, that's exactly what I said. If you still have all the things to do and you can't reduce it, try to be regular at least. Because that doesn't take time. It just takes a little bit change of your lifestyle, a little bit alertness that you have to do that. You can drink your hot water. You can sort of start to see where can I reduce a little bit until I'm more in balance. And well, I tell you, I'm 72 now, and I just told my son last week, I have so much power, I have so much energy, I have so much happiness, so I don't go with that, it has to be reduced.
Okay.
You just have to stay in your strengths, and of course I do not everything what I tell my patients every day, but I do a lot. So I have a fasting day once a week, so liquid fasting, don't have just water fasting, meaning like you drink fresh juices or you have fresh soups, something like this. So to be on the purifying side, I do my meditation quite regularly and so on. There's movement. I try to go to bed early, not always, but I try always, but I don't succeed always. But if you have more and more like this in your regular lifestyle, until now at least, I don't trust this thing. I get older and everything has to get worse.
Yeah, it's not happening.
I don't think it's
Good.
true. It's
Fantastic.
only what I say sometimes to my patients, the older you get, the more you have to follow these things.
Yeah.
The more you have to balance.
But it also having this pretty good routine, not perfect, pretty good
Perfect
routine.
is a stress.
It allows you that flexibility of maybe
Right.
taking some time off of
Yeah.
that, which is really nice. I like that.
I also do it.
Yeah, it's totally what I prescribe, and yes, it's like if your regime takes over, it's not your regime should only kind of like
It should give you the possibility to have all possibilities.
Exactly.
It shouldn't harm you or cramp you somehow.
yes, beautiful. So it shouldn't restrict you of
No.
just enjoying a glass of wine or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
Good company and some not so sattvic, not so Ayurvedically balanced food. All that's the beauty. It's not.
Yes. But the basis should be good. So
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you can have the exceptions
Yeah.
and enjoy them, and then that's fine. So let's say if we say you can for example you can have meat once or twice a week. That's all fine. The body can manage. If you have it 3 times per day, you have to pay the bill for it. It's too much.
Yeah.
So like that. you
Yeah.
know.
So good balance. So what I just heard there, which I think is fantastic, the busiest person on earth, right, can try, can prioritize circadian rhythms, or kind of like, obviously if you work shifts, that's tricky,
Yeah.
but like beside people working shifts, dinner can be a little bit earlier. And it might be a little bit of a transitional period till
Of
everyone gets a
course.
script and
Of
gets with
course.
it. But I like, menopause to me translates into 3 things hidden in the word me,
Oh yeah, that's
getting
nice.
to know you,
Yeah.
getting to know me,
Mhm.
taking that time to get to know me, rather than reading the magazines about menopause. No, which is good boundaries. No, actually we're going to have dinner at 6. You can go whatever, just good boundaries and pause.
Yeah, it's really
which
pretty.
is that
It's very
meditation.
nice.
Isn't
It's
that
very
great?
nice.
It's all hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
So that is beautiful. Thank you so much for your wisdom
Yeah,
and your
thank
time.
you.
It was an absolute pleasure
Okay.
having you here
Fine.
and being here.
Same
as
for
well.
me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Cool.